Silence your phones.
Technical difficulties already. It's Tom Carroll's fault. He's not here tonight, so you can blame him. I hear the dinging. It's trying.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with the prayer. If everyone could please rise. Heavenly Father, we thank you for being in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America, where our fathers had the wisdom to realize that they were to rely on God and not the government. We thank you for their vision. Help us to realize that freedom comes for a price. And we thank all the veterans who served this country so bravely. We also pray for the following people: Catherine Engelbright and Rev Phillips, who are also showing their bravery from Trust True the Vote. They are being held for contempt of court. We ask you to give them the courage to get through this ordeal and to be free again. We ask you to bless each and every person in this room. We ask you to bless the candidates that we are supporting, that as we get closer to election day, that everyone will not take an apathetic attitude and not vote, but to exercise their vote. Because their vote doesn't count if they don't cast it. We pray for all these candidates that they will be successful in winning their races and restoring freedom here in Pennsylvania and the United States. We ask you to bless each and every person in this room and this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen. Pledge of Allegiance. Sing for America, sing our national anthem. Remain standing.
So proud we
remarks, and this is from Tom. Tom Carroll is our chair, and I'm Melissa Gallagher, I'm the vice chair. I think I'm funnier, though.
You're prettier.
So from Tom Carroll, good evening, everyone. I'm out of state handling several cases involving our challenges to the correct political system. First, on behalf of the entire board, I want to welcome all of you here tonight. I want to extend a special welcome to the undercover agents here to monitor us. I'm sorry to disappoint you that I'm not here, but I encourage you to stay and listen to the truth, and I offer my prayers to you. We all know what's going on. Our response is to turn to God. We have absolute faith that our God has our back and is with us every step of the way. He is behind us, saying every day, stand up, move forward, and share the word with everyone you encounter. Over the last 2 years, our own government has told us that the 2020 election was the most fair and transparent election in American history. They told us that to even ask questions would subject us to labeling people enemies of the state and domestic terrorists. They told us that all claims relating to the election were proven false, and that to continue to say otherwise would subject us to arrest. FBI agents have shown up at the doors of moms who simply showed up at school board meetings to ask questions of what's being taught. They deny critical race theory is being taught in our schools. They just call it something else. They deny that partial birth abortions even exist. They continue to deny that everything they did during COVID was nothing but abject failure. What is the actual truth? With regard to the 2020 election and the 2021 elections here in Pennsylvania, I'll give you just a couple examples. In early 2021, a right-to-know request was filed in Delaware County concerning the 2020 election. A whistleblower was able to catch numerous election officials destroy election evidence on videotape, including literally ripping up and throwing return tapes into the garbage and bragging that they would have a campfire. They admitted on video they were committing felonies, but didn't seem to worry as they responded to a question as why they were destroying evidence. Let them figure it out. Delaware County was the last county to report their results to the state, and those results ended up flipping the state to Biden. They want us to believe that President Trump won over 10 million votes more in 2020 than he did in 2016 to turn out to only be the second incumbent president in history to win more votes in the second election and lose. The first one to have that happen to actually ran again a term later and won. President Trump won 18 of the 19 bellwether counties in 2020, and no one to win those counties have ever lost an election. Election centers in major cities and swing states shut down at the same time on election night: Philadelphia, Detroit, Atlanta, and Milwaukee. We all went to bed that night with Trump up 800,000. I remember that. Oh my God, it was upsetting. It was upsetting in the morning. The Supreme Court ordered PA to separate ballots that were undated and unsigned. In spite of that order, that was not done. They continued to count ballots for days. They told us that machines were not connected to the internet and are secure. They reject all attempts to simply have transparency. And you've asked the question, if they are so perfect and they don't connect to the internet, why don't you just let us proceed so you can prove us wrong? Instead, they threaten people with arrest and civil judgments for simply asking the question. In spite of all these threats, we have discovered, among other things, that due to a right-to-know request being filed in Allegheny County and an elevation of information retained being reviewed by forensic experts, that 16,000 fraudulent ballots existed there. In Clinton County, Pennsylvania, after the Secretary of State decertified the Dominion machines used in the 2020 election, and one that was never used, the county was required to purchase new machines from a different vendor, and this summer had them evaluated by forensic experts, and they found that the Dominion machines were connected to Canada and contained Python script. I'm sure many of you are getting frustrated right now listening to my words about the previous election when there was so much to accomplish accomplish right now in 2022 to make sure that conservative candidates win. My point is that due to feckless Republicans, nothing has been done to fix the problems. The cheating is real and has not been fixed. Here in our own backyard, in Lehigh County, the district attorney was providing video evidence of ballot box stuffing, which identified the culprits. He refused to prosecute them, saying that since he couldn't arrest everyone who did it, he wouldn't arrest any of those he could prove did it. He gave a green light for continued cheating. Recently, the United States Supreme Court ruled on updated ballots, and our acting Secretary of State said she would count down regardless. Not too long ago, our Attorney General sent out a communication stating that he would be setting up a hotline for people to report those who would be observing and reporting those who approach drop boxes with more than one ballot in violation of the law, and said that charges of voter intimidation should be filed against citizens exercising their constitutional rights. Josh Shapiro refused to investigate any voter fraud allegations and instead threatens those that even ask questions. He refused to investigate the criminal acts of our current governor and then health director. How many of our loved ones died in nursing homes because of his actions? Tom Wolf locked Pennsylvania down to a greater degree than almost every other state. So now we have the opportunity to elect people who will go to Harrisburg and Washington and stand up to this tyranny. What makes me most sick is the Republican establishment supporting Josh Shapiro over Doug Mastriano. Josh Shapiro will be Tom Wolf on steroids. He's smarter and much more political astute, and he has the backing of the leftist elite from both coasts. I don't care if you don't like Doug Mastriano, we must do everything we can to make sure in the last few days we can convince as many of our friends and neighbors that with Josh Shapiro as governor, we will continue to shut down Pennsylvania energy, jobs will continue to leave PA, taxes will go up, and there will be more and more regulations. He will object to school choice, and he will continue to support the civic teachings that we will be talking about tonight in our first presentation. We had a very contested and heated primary for the U.S. Senate. Kathy Barnett was fully endorsed Dr. Oz and asked that everyone vote for him. If Fetterman wins this election, the Democrats will likely retain the Senate. If that is the case, the next 2 years will be horrible for Pennsylvania. He will be a puppet for the radical left, and they will push to pack the court, continue to push for tax increases, make D.C. and Puerto Rico states. I'll be right. He is as far left as Bernie Sanders. Dr. Oz and Doug Mastriano will support us with the help of our law enforcement and common sense regulations to help stop the out-of-control crime and to secure our border. I'm proud to call Lisa Scheller a friend. I'm also proud of how she has conducted her campaign in the face of so many disgusting lies and personal attacks. I get them in the mail every day, don't we? She has kept her focus on the people of the district. She wants to vote in Congress to lower taxes, to open up domestic production of energy. We must be on overdrive for the next 5 days. Andrew will be taking over the meeting tonight after the break to focus on making sure we have every poll covered for every candidate. Our candidates for State House and State Senate need to be elected. Imagine how much more sane legislation from Harrisburg would be with Dean Browning, Jared Coleman, John Verhoeven in the PA Senate. Beth Finch can ride our assembly of Schultzberg and his hardcore leftist ideas. Robert Smith will go to Harrisburg with the rest of them, and they will vote to lower our taxes, to reduce regulations on small business, and finally solve the school property tax situation here in PA, and provide for all of our families school choice to better educate all Pennsylvania children. We must unleash our natural gas to help our nation's national security and reduce inflation. Okay, finally, last paragraph. I connect the beginning and the end of my words tonight with the thought that we need everyone working to watch drop boxes, to be at the polls on election day, to spread the word to everyone to get out to vote, and to be mindful that we must outvote the cheating that is real and continues here in Pennsylvania. This is not just another election. We don't win this one and the Marxists take over our republic, will be the completed Tom. So I don't know if you guys saw Spirit Halloween this year, but they had some pretty interesting costumes. Did anybody dress up as any of these this year?
They were sold out.
They were sold out. I like the gunslinger. I thought that was really cool.
So, how many of you are Phillies fans here in the audience? Any Phillies fans here? So our next slide, Franklin here, our IP video guy, he went to the World Series last night. So I was worried about him getting here tonight, so I said, only if you put something up about the tea party, so he got it up there, the LVTP.org, and he didn't put there without Tom. Franklin's in there somewhere. He's on fire.
So here's our membership and treasury reports. Our total members are up to 7,233. Bank balance is 59,000, and our credit line is 10,000. Membership.
So as you see there, our total members and regular and associate total 7,233. So our regular member is a paid member. Associate is someone that's in our database and we are able to communicate with them. We have a bank balance of $59,805.65. Oh, we went to the wrong spider. Hold on. Oh, here we are. All right, if you're not a paid member for 2022, please join tonight. Your payment will be for 2023 membership. So I just want to make you aware that the board has been discussing, since everything's going up, we are considering raising the dues possibly $5. But we will notify you by mail. So we're encouraging you to please either sign up tonight, or we will be doing another mailing to encourage you to become members for 2023. In addition, we will be doing some type of cash travel. How many of you would prefer larger prizes instead of seller prizes? We were thinking of doing maybe 3 $600 prizes. How many of you would be in favor of that? Just have to raise their hands. Larger prizes. Or would you prefer that we still stagger it out like five prizes with some lower winnings? Raise your hands for that.
More chances to win.
More chances to win. All right, but again, we're encouraging you to please join now because that helps pay the bills.
Patriot-minded businesses, in the back of the Second Amendment table, there is a list, and there's also a colored flyer back there. If you're interested in knowing, these are businesses from here, people within our own group that have businesses. So if you're looking for something in particular, there's Annie. Annie's showing it off back there. So you can pick up a flyer, or if you have a business you'd like to sign up on there, there's a sign-in sheet. So put your business information back there. Second Amendment. Someone please take this over for me. Someone please take this over for me. I need somebody that would like to take over the Second Amendment Committee. If you are interested, you can see me anytime after the meeting or shoot me an email or whatever. We meet once a month usually, but it's up to you. If you're the chair of the Second Amendment Committee, you can schedule it. That's convenient for you. We have at least 25 people that come out every month. But we do some trainings, we do information on gun laws or bills or what's going on, and then I used to throw in other stuff too because I'm a prepper, so you got some of that. But anybody who is interested, see me.
I just want to try switching microphones.
It sounds awesome up here.
Is this better? Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's funny because up here, that mic sounded awesome, and I thought, ooh, this is going really well. Apparently not. Okay, first-time attendees. Do we have any first-time attendees here? Welcome. you're with like-minded people, hopefully. And tonight, one of our speakers is actually my cousin. I haven't seen my cousin in like, what, 40 years? I don't know. And she's with one of the speakers tonight. So I got to meet my cousin tonight.
Wow.
See my cousin. 50-50 raffle over on the far wall over there. You see Tom. We will draw that at the end of the meeting tonight. And there's also, Second Amendment has their gun raffle back with, there's Annie in the back. Tickets are only $10, and if you are a winner, you get a $500 gift certificate from Relic Hunter. And that is for a gun, or for training, or for ammo, for whatever they have. If you don't have cash tonight, you can always use your credit card to get chips and pay for whatever you like with the chips. You can use that at merchandise or anywhere.
So we have here the meat raffle, Fearless Fire Company. As you know, we are very lucky to have this hall, and they accommodate us. And in return, we try to help them. So twice a year, they do this meat raffle drawing. As you can see, your tickets on the left, on the right, are the potential prizes. There's 50 of them. And if you would like to attend the party, it's free beer, all you can drink, and food. But you have to sign up with Jackie, who's waiting at you right now, up here in the front. You have to sign up to be part of the party because it's always a sold-out party. So we have a special tonight. You can purchase 3 tickets for $5, or you can buy 6 for $10. So see the girls during the break.
And that's always cannolis and brownies and crumb cake in the back. Gotta pick up some of those. And for merchandise, I just cannot believe that the padded butt pillows are not selling. Kathy, will you hold those up? Cushions for your tush.
Or for banging Democrats over the head there at the election.
We'll sell out now.
Now we'll sell them.
I don't know if you were here last month, but we actually had somebody come up and speak about this, and I'm taking one of these classes actually right now, the Biblical Citizenship. Highly recommended. These classes are excellent. PatriotAcademy.com. And Veterans Day happens to fall right after our meeting, so I did want to recognize this. There's a lot of things that are going on in the area, but this just happened to be one thing that I thought was pretty much open to everybody. And it's at the Brown and Lynch Legion there on Courier Drive in Houston. It's a holiday market, so they have a whole bunch of crafters and things that will be there. It is open to the public. Thank you, veterans. We would not be here today without you. And I don't think Val's here tonight, but oh, Val is here! Yay!
So good evening. Over the years, I've found that the Lehigh Valley Tea Party members are true patriots. They're true believers and true Americans, and I love you guys. I know all this because my husband and I, 14 years ago, were some of the original. There's only a handful of us in this room that were the original Tea Party organizers. And through that, we started to support the troops. We wanted to have a positive look, hoping that would make the newspaper or something, that we supported our veterans and we sent free care packages to our military. So we're starting our 14th year this month, and we've sent 3,288 free care packages. A lot of you have supported us. And you know what? We don't need anything right now. We really don't. What we need is names. And even if they're in America, they get one package. Overseas, you tell us how long they're there, we just keep sending. Anyway, so we thank you. But in a few days, as Mel has said, it's Veterans Day. And I have a favor of you guys. I want you to do something. I want you to Get a veteran and say, hey, why don't I take you to the polls? Maybe I'll buy you a cup of coffee later. Just do something for a veteran. If you don't know a veteran, write a note of thanks, bring it next month, and I'll mail it in our packages. Something simple. If you want something tangible, I can always use sunflower seeds or some sort of snacks. Just one simple thing. And on that note, Andrew, we're gonna have the Armed Forces medley, and I'm gonna ask each of you when your branch is, we ask you to stand up. Thank you.
Air Force.
Air Force. Come on, I know it's an Air Force veteran, and you help me carry things in. Where is he? Back there. Thank you. Army. There we go. Marine. Could be birthday this week too. Marine. Whoa! We thank you, veterans. We thank all our children, our grandchildren that are serving, those that have died serving, our Gold Star parents. We thank all of you that support the Tea Party, that support the troops, and support our candidates to make this country a free country. And I just want to tell you, after we win the election, personal little quirk. Make sure you take the signs down. But if you happen to be in Williams Township, make sure you wear your gloves to take the signs down. Because after 40 of my signs were stolen, I got smart and I have lightning grease on them. So just be careful because I'm not rolling out there doing it. God bless all of you and God bless America. Well, we'd like to wish a happy birthday to Annette. Happy birthday, Annette.
How old?
We'll be welcoming our guest speakers, and you're going to be live streaming Allie, is that right? Is Allie?
It's 27.
So the little piece of paper. It's Tom Carroll's fault. Little piece of paper.
Will they be able to see her?
Okay, so they're going to live stream here on Rumble, GWYNNY7. And on YouTube, G, W like whiskey, Y like yogurt, N like Nancy, N like Nancy, Y like yogurt, 7. And on Facebook, Gwen's Notes, so that is G like goat, W like whiskey, Y like yogurt, N like Nancy, apostrophe S like Sam, Notes. So without further ado, let us welcome them.
Good evening. Before we kind of jump into our Moms for Liberty chapter, we wanted to do a brief introduction.
My name is Jennifer Simon. I live in Northampton County. I am the mother of 4 children. I have, my youngest son is 14 years old. He's in 8th grade at Nazareth Elementary School. And I met Allie through our common interest in making sure that our children's rights are being protected. We actually met over the mask mandates and the muzzling of our children going to school and decided that we were not for that. So we kind of got together and started a little Facebook group in our area and started going to school board meetings for the greater part of about 2 years now. And I hate to say it, but thank God for masks, because it really brought us together to realize all the other things that were really happening that were far more important than a little cloth covering. So that's a little bit about me. We'll talk about Moms for Liberty after Allie gives a brief introduction.
Hi, I'm Allie Warner. It's nice to see everybody here. This is my 3rd meeting. And when I met Jennifer, I was like, oh my gosh, she's just as dorky as me. And we have, our friendship has grown over 2 years, but she is right. We care a lot about our kids and about all children, not just ours. And I have one son, he's 10. I moved to this area from Fairfax County, Virginia 2 years ago. And part of the reason why we left was because of what's going on. And it was just really nice to connect with folks here who are like-minded, like all of you. So, if we can get started.
So I'm not sure who here is familiar with Moms for Liberty, but the mission of Moms for Liberty is dedicated to fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights across all levels of government.
So who are we? 2 moms, Tiffany Justice and Tina Deskovich, started Moms for Liberty in January of 2021. They both are down in Florida, and I think maybe after Florida, Pennsylvania might have the most chapters at this point in time. But it's not just moms. It's named Moms for Liberty, but there's dads, there's grandparents, there's aunts and uncles, and there's concerned citizens who really want to make a difference. So it's not just moms. You can go to the next one. This is slightly out of date. We've been growing really, really fast, and especially this year. But this just gives you some metrics around how vast the organization has grown throughout the country.
So how Moms for Liberty fights. We hold leaders accountable. We hold decision makers accountable for the decisions that we make, and if they're making the wrong decisions, we look to replace them with ones who will. We spread awareness, so our job is to educate. We want to educate parents on what's happening and make sure that you're aware of what's going on. Not every parent goes to school board meetings. Not every parent knows what's in their school's curriculum. All this stuff, we've for years just kind of let go by the wayside because we've trusted, and that trust has been completely violated. We oppose government overreach. We promote liberty in everything that we do. We engage on key issues. So it is very important that when there's something that comes up, there's a conversation about it, and that conversation is an open dialogue. And we activate to public service. We activate liberty-minded individuals and leaders to take elected positions, so that's obviously very important. School boards are very important. 5 years ago, somebody asked me how I voted for school board members. I'd say, oh, I'd probably look at who my neighbor had in their yard, and that was who I voted for. I don't think we were paying attention. Fell asleep at the wheel. That will never happen again. And Moms for Liberty is about making sure that that never happens again.
Okay, so what do chapters do? We don't just get together and chit-chat. We have work to do. So here on our bullet points, we've got to fight the culture war. And I think everybody in this room, to a certain extent, has had some feeling in their gut about what's going on, what you're hearing about, friends, family, or on TV. The different things that we do, or volunteer opportunities are, doing a deep dive into curriculum. There's so much great information out there today. We can
go have a meeting for an hour, get as much information as we can, and then go and just dive into the internet and find it. It's not a secret anymore. And also, I think Jennifer and I are really good at getting our kids to tell us what's going on in the classroom, because they'll still talk to us right now. Speaking at local, state, and school board meetings, I'm just going to focus on this one because I want to make sure that that we properly represent the brand, Moms for Liberty, but also our intentions. Jennifer and I have been attending school board meetings for almost 2 years. We know that walking into a school board meeting and throwing yourself on the floor and screaming and pouting is really just like when you see your kids do. It's not productive, it doesn't do anything, it just makes you look stupid. So we're very lucky to have school board members in our school district that have spoken to us and given us some of the inside scoop, what to expect, how to work together with them. But that's the real key, is forming a relationship, learning as much as you can about what goes on in your school district, but going to those meetings and understanding what are they doing and why, and how does it impact you or the children. There's a bunch of other things here, getting involved in community issues, letter writing, but then there's also efforts that are made at the state level in terms of legislation. And in the last month, there's been more than one bill, I think, a House bill and a Senate bill at the General Assembly in Harrisburg that focus on parental rights. While they're not perfect, they're probably in a form that will get further than obviously what our wish list would be. But that's a great example of where Moms for Liberty have been working with some of those representatives and providing them with feedback, including our own representatives. And then elections. So Moms for Liberty cannot endorse political candidates. What we can do is we can endorse school board candidates. And there's a process that you go through. There's vetting and interviews, and your whole entire chapter can vote on the candidates that you'd like to endorse. So that's how we're trying to make a mark and an impact on how things are working in the schools.
A little bit of presentation, but just as a show of hands, can anybody just raise your hand and let me know if you're aware of the Title IX changes that the federal government has proposed for changing Title IX? So the lack of hands is one of the reasons why Moms for Liberty exists. So Title IX is essentially what's supposed to grant, we're supposed to make sure equal opportunity. So the changes that the federal government is proposing is that they eliminate boys and girls bathrooms, locker rooms, schools, overnight accommodations. Biological males will be able to participate in girls' sports, and teachers and children could be found guilty of sexual harassment if they misgender or mispronounce somebody. So essentially, the schools, if they reject the Title IX changes, they could lose federal funding. So that is how bad it is, and that is why I said masks were like a walk in the park, because that is what we're up against. I have 4 boys, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to sit here and fight for anybody's daughters, grandchildren, nieces, nephews. It doesn't matter who it is. Essentially, they keep talking about this marginalized people who, again, are just going to reverse them. So that is one of the reasons why we are so passionate, because that's what's coming down the pipeline. So where we're going, obviously, want to expand our army of Moms for Liberty members, whether it's a mom, a dad, a grandparent, or any of those other things that Alan mentioned. It is not just moms, to all 3,130 counties. We want to take back the culture, restore core American principles in the classroom. Extremely important. We want to improve the quality of education in America and graduate well-educated and well-adjusted students. Right now, that is not happening. And we want to take back school boards and have them aligned with our interests. We want to get the schools back to educating our youth, and not whatever it is that they're doing right now.
Put God back in our schools.
Yeah. So this is what it looks like, Moms for Liberty in Pennsylvania right now. So we, Allie and I, and Tanino over here at the table represent Northampton County. We're a brand new chapter. There are 25 Moms for Liberty chapters in the state of Pennsylvania. You can see some of our adjacent chapters that are here. What does that mean? There are 42 other counties that are waiting for a Moms for Liberty chapter. So if you're in one of those counties that is missing from there, I'm sure that they would be happy to embrace new chapters. Allie and I are co-founders of the chapter. I'm the chair, she's the vice chair. We could be co-chairs, but Moms for Liberty doesn't allow that, so that's how we are right now. And then Janine over here at the table is our treasurer. If you see these nice blue vacant boxes, it's because, of course, we're new and we're always looking for more people to step up and help us achieve our mission. So if you're interested, you can always come over here and see us at the table, and we can tell you how you can help. We will take as many of your hours or as little as your hours that you're willing to give. And then since Northampton County has 8 school districts, Deneen, Allie, and I are all within Nazareth Area School District, and those are the board meetings that we've been attending. We are actually going to attend a Bangor school meeting on November 30th if we requested somebody up in that area. But eventually, as we continue to expand, we'll be looking for district leaders, so there is a champion in each district looking to kind of push what Moms for Liberty is all about.
The current priorities that we're focusing on, as Jennifer mentioned, is building our chapter. So at this point, we've got lots of interest in Nazareth, but we want to grow, right? We've got 8 districts. After doing a quick initial analysis, out of the 8 districts, there are 39 school board members up for re-election or their terms are expiring in 2023. So, we have a lot of work to do, and we know that there are parents out there that don't even know we exist and would probably love to have a friend that they could relate to and also be part of a great cause. So if anybody here is interested in getting involved, we have 2 types of membership. We've got a sign-up sheet over here. We can help you. And then also we have volunteer opportunities as well. Like Jennifer said, we've got little things and big things, and there's something for everybody. District priority, building community awareness. So this is more of maintaining that presence. We are going to try to get to every school district general board meeting. There's 2 types. Committee meetings and there's general board meetings. We're going to be going to those. Now, we can't talk at them because we don't live in that municipality, but we want to be able to show our presence there. There are some people who like to peek through Zoom and watch those board meetings, and maybe we can draw some of them out. But we come in peace. So for any of the school board members that are here tonight, don't worry, we're not going to bring a circus of monkeys with us. We're there to do good work and to be good examples.
So the Parent Pledge is something that Moms for Liberty has out there right now, and I'm just going to read what's on the screen here because everybody here has the opportunity to sign the Parent Pledge. You can either come over to the table and we can show you how to sign the pledge, or you can text 53445. It's going to take a link, bring you a link, and it's going to essentially ask you to sign this pledge. I pledge to honor the fundamental rights of parents, including, but not limited to, the right to direct the education, medical care, and moral upbringing of their children. I pledge to advance policies that strengthen parental involvement in decision-making, increase transparency, defend against government overreach, and secure parental rights at all levels of government. So if this is a pledge that you're willing to sign tonight, we ask you again to text the word pledge to 53445. It's going to bring you to a link. It's going to ask you if you're a parent or a community member, or if you're a candidate or an elected official. If you happen to be a candidate or an elected official and you're willing to take the pledge tonight, we ask that you come over to the table and do it so we can capture a picture and put it on our Moms for Liberty webpage. Very easy way to just get involved tonight simply by just advocating and aligning with the Parent Pledge. So So events and general information. So the Northampton County chapter currently has our general meetings on the third Monday of every month at 6:30. We're currently holding them at a restaurant called the Farm and Table in Nazareth. And our next scheduled meeting is for November 21st. If you're interested in attending, please let us know and we will give you all that information. We have a membership table over here where you can sign up tonight or again take away some information with you. And we also have a really awesome Moms for Liberty tote bag that's on the table that we're going to raffle off for anybody who joins with a membership tonight, or you can buy it out.
Farm and Table.
Farm and Table on Main Street in Nazareth, and we can give you that if you want.
Across from the police station. Across from the police station.
119 South Main Street, Nazareth. I had to write it a lot. So the upcoming events that we're planning, we're really excited to bring a movie that some of you may have heard about. It's called Whose Children Are They? It is part of the Salem Networks or Salem Now platform. That's the same one that has the 2,000 Mules that Dinesh D'Souza released. Whose Children Are They is a documentary exposing the hidden agenda in America's schools. So we're going to be doing a showing of that movie at the Dryden UCC Church it's actually Lower Nazareth. It's not far from Bethlehem Township. That'll be on Thursday, 7 p.m., December 1st. Also, if you are somebody in your community and you're considering running for school board, we are going to host a school board candidate Q&A panel. So this is we're going to have existing current school boards that are from Northampton County, 4 or 5 of them, and we're going to lead them through questions about their experience as a school board member. The audience that we're expecting are folks that are interested in running for school board, or if you're just curious and you want to know more about what goes on at a school board and what do they have to deal with. Remember, these are volunteer positions and they do deal with a lot. So we're going to be holding that at the Farm and Table restaurant. Just in case anybody has been to that restaurant, they're normally not open for dinner during the week, but they allow us to use that space. So it's still going to be there. I just wanted to make sure if anybody looked it up and you saw that they're closed, don't be confused. They are open. And then if you have questions about events, if you happen to know somebody who is maybe a specialist in the Constitution and does talks, anybody that's concerned with parents' rights, things going on in education today, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to bring that person's knowledge to the community and share with others. So if you'd like to come visit us at the intermission, we'll be over at the table.
Yep, so I don't know if anybody has any questions for us.
In the back.
Okay, we got Barney here with the mic.
Yes, I'm really excited about hearing about this program. I'm on the school board at Stockton Valley School District. And
Yeah, thank you.
one thing, and it depends on the board, but you can push the issue to speak at any board meeting in Pennsylvania because your taxes pay. You're a Pennsylvania citizen, so your taxes pay part of the spending for the school board. So you have a right. I've argued this on our board many times because people come in and they want to speak and they say no, but you can actually push that issue. I'm not saying you'll have perfect success because a lot of school boards are pretty closed-minded, but
Thank you. We'll come to yours first.
Thank you, Brian and Sean Welch, for being on the school board. We know it is a thankless job. Thank you. We have a question here.
I have some two quick statements. One, I'm signing up, by the way, that's in the free labor here. And also, the building you're talking about, the restaurant in Nazareth, those who know what the area, that was the old Jacksonian.
Yes.
That club. So that's going to be the connection. And they turn the food, by the way.
Thank you.
little ironic that it's an old Democratic club, right? But it is no longer.
Here's a question. My wife got 2 phone calls today from the CDC asking them to verify if they have any children between the ages of 3 months old to 18 years old and have been vaccinated. Where does Moms for Liberty stand on the CDC trying to basically invade the privacy of parents on that?
I would say that obviously Moms for Liberty is all about parental rights. So I don't think that they would support anything where again, that is pure government overreach if I've ever heard it. So certainly not aligned with something along those expectations.
The only thing I can think of is that might something to push back against that would be under the legislative efforts that they have. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because there's a lot of people asking for all of this information, and some people feel a little intimidated to give it. I usually don't, but I don't. I'm not shy, but I hear the concern, and my son is not vaccinated. I don't like sharing that here, but he's not. Thank you. I took him to an allergist 2 weeks ago, a new allergist, and the nurse was going through all the things, and she says, vaccinated? I said, yeah. And she said, COVID? And I said, no. She goes, oh, your judgment. And I thought, yeah, it is my judgment. And I'm glad it's not yours, because if it were yours, it'd be the other way around. So yeah, but I think I'd like to dig in further since we're such a new chapter. I would like to dig in further because that is one of those issues that's on parents' minds. Are the school districts, right after November 8th, is whoever's going to be governor, if it's not Mastriano, are they going to go ahead and say, you know what, we're pushing this now. Now, in order to go to public school, you need to have this, and we're not going to honor your philosophical, your religious, or your medical exemptions. And so, thanks for thinking about it.
My name is Barbara. I'm involved in the East Penn School District, attend the board meetings, address the board, and we have 5 candidates who are going to run next year against those that are up for re-election and replacement. So we're educating Emmaus, Upper Milford, Lamarcunchie on what's going on. Our group is called REAP, Restoring Excellence to East Penn Education. And anybody who's in the area would like to come to our meetings, you can just go on the Facebook and to our website and be a part of our group, because we've been handing out door hangers while we're handing out the pamphlets for all the Republican candidates. We're handing out ours as well, hoping that will increase our attendance. But I heard that the CDC has already said that all children who will go to public school will need to get the vaccination. However, it's going to go to the states. So we need Mastriano as governor, because he will not allow that to happen in Pennsylvania.
So that's fantastic, and thank you for doing what you can in the area that you're in, because that's fantastic. I will say people also need to be very smart, because the other side is very tricky and manipulative, right? So much like when they came out and said, oh, it's no longer under an emergency use authorization, it's approved. No, it wasn't. It was something else that was approved. So again, people read things or they catch on to something and they feel like, and they get intimidated into making a decision because they feel like they have no choice, when they really do have a choice. They just have to educate themselves a little further in what it is that they're doing. And sometimes it just means having the right network of people to ask, to give you the confidence to stand up for what you believe in. And I'm going to say that I felt very alone. I was unfriending everybody I knew on Facebook. And then when I met Allie, it just, I didn't feel alone anymore, because I knew that there was somebody out there that was not insane, because it just seemed like the rest of the world was just going insane. So I think that was a big piece, but I do think that making sure you are 100% aware and you do your research and don't just trust what somebody's telling you that you have to do, because it's a bullying tactic.
things. Now, yeah. So, the federal government is prohibited by law from calling you up at your home and asking you those kinds of personal questions. So, if you're getting a phone call for that, I would dollars to donuts, that was fraud. So there's been a number of alerts that have gone out since the start of the whole pandemic garbage about fraud. And we're very vulnerable to fraud in Pennsylvania because of a lot of our laws. So, if you get a phone call that doesn't sound right, it's probably BS. A little bit about the CDC and their authority with your school. They have no authority, okay? We are a republic, the states call the shot. But Allie, you are right about what Shapiro will do. And the problem with that mandate when the state puts it down is it puts the school board in a quandary. Most every single school district in this state depends on some degree on state dollars. Most of your smaller school districts like Saucon, we're under 2,000 students, we have a $52 million budget. We are $170,000 in federal funding a year, that's all we get. We get about $15 million from the state. The rest is all local. Problem is, you threaten that $15 million, you've hurt us. You've hurt us bad. Federal government, not so interested in it. COVID money was great, but that's a one-time shot. Understanding the money is important. Understanding the authorities that come with it. One of the things that we do in Saucon Valley is I always ask our business manager, what strings are with this money? So one of the things with Saucon Valley is when most of you know this, I think Allie and them may know this, we were open, full up, starting in August of 2020. Okay, and we stayed open the whole time. We were running about 80 to 85% of our students in person. We were lucky we had the square footage we could play by the CDC's rules, which the state adopted and forced down our throats. Y'all remember the stuff with the masks, and they forced us to do masks. Why? Now you get into the power of leftist non-profit groups. So what the governor did is instead of having his self do a order that said keep the masks on after the repeal of his ability to actually put an order down and hold it against him. What he did was he turned around and said, well, we'll let the Secretary of Health do that. And then if you violate that school board, we will sue you in your personal capacity as an independent individual citizen, which means no insurance coverage, you're on your own, you get to mortgage your house, and these leftist nonprofits were queued up, ready to sue school board directors. So y'all remember, I think it was Kaz Sakwa said, we ain't doing masks, and then they flipped 2 weeks later. It's because all those school board directors were told, we're taking you to court. And that would personally bankrupt them. So the left runs some little games here you have to be aware of. The biggest thing you have to be aware of is here we are in, let's say, some numbers. Congressional District 7. Okay, what do the voting numbers look like? I have 98,000 registered male Republicans. I have 94,000 registered male Democrats. I have 87,000 registered female Democrats or Republicans. I have 130,000 registered female Democrats, net down 38,000. So we're not in a conservative area, we're in a left-leaning area. And the question becomes, how do you avoid being steamrolled by them? And that is the issue that Brian and I deal with every time we have a school board decision. How do you keep them from lighting up? Because thankfully for us, Democrats be lazy. And if you don't stir them up, you might actually beat them. That's probably what's happening now. How many of y'all know that we're down 75? We're down 25% from the mail-in ballots from the Democrats this time last election. So they are down. They be lazy. They be upset. Okay? But if you stir them up, they will roar to the polls. So what are the issues that stir them up? And this is all part of the strategy that you got to kind of think about as you're working your issues. Number one, we are in a light blue area. We are not in a red area. So light blue equals light lazy. How do you keep them lazy and quiet and advance your agenda? And that's our challenge. That's what we're all facing right now.
All right, last question from Valerie. Last question.
So I know sometimes when you talk up there, it gets lost. You mentioned about typing the word pledge to 530-445. But if we don't have, it kind of, you said it quickly. You can be answered whether or not you're a parent or a concerned citizen. Is that what it is? Because I don't have any children going here, and I don't have any grandchildren. So, but I am a concerned citizen. And then what happens? Do we get emails from you? Could you just kind of brief us on that so that more people do what you ask to support you?
Yeah, so the parent pledge is separate from joining the chapter. So that's just an initiative that Moms for Liberty is running, trying to get obviously candidates, elected officials, and parents, anyone who's aligned with the pledge itself to sign. When you text the word pledge to 53445, it brings you, it texts you back a link. You click on that link, and then you can read the pledge, and then you can opt to essentially sign it. Much like somebody would walk around and getting somebody that, I don't know, sign up for Girl Scout cookies, I guess. But it's just showing them, it's building like the army of parents that are aligned with these philosophical beliefs. To join the Moms for Liberty chapter is a bit different. You actually hit a join, and you actually go through the motions of signing up as a membership. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
One more, just one more quick.
Quick question here. Do you know about the pornographic books that they're putting in children's schools? And if so, how is Moms for Liberty trying to fight to get these out of schools? And are you aware of Felicia Redmond's lawsuit in Pennsylvania to try to get these books out of schools? Thank you.
Great question. Yes, we do. All right, so how do I start? Okay. There is a Moms for Liberty member, and I don't remember which chapter she's in. It might be Louisiana, can't remember. But she created a really awesome website that you can go to. It's free, you have to log in, none of that stuff. You basically see a chart of books that have been reviewed. You can click on the book name, and it'll take you to a summary, like a book report, that a parent or a Mom for Liberty has reviewed. So they've read the book, they've called out the different areas of concern, whether it's language, inappropriate content, etc., etc. And then they'll also include, it's like a table or an Excel spreadsheet with the page number and the passage that includes all of that inappropriate content. And what you can do, anybody can do, is go to that site. If there's a book and you found it in your library, you probably want to take a look at what your school districts do. I learned from a school board member that they actually have a process for this. I know in our school district, we don't. So what we have done in the past 2 years, when this was not really a well-known issue, is printed out that summary, brought it to the board meeting, and handed it to the board. That way, you're not reading it. Some people do bring their kids to the board meetings because they don't have anywhere to leave them, right? They're all over the place in the evening, sports and everything else. So that is a really impactful way. If someone's already done the work for you, you just look it up, you find it, and you bring it. We've got, even if you're not a Moms for Liberty member, but you wanted to read one of those books or find it, you were interested, or you have grandkids and you don't want them checking that out, you can go and write one of those book reports. So the website is, if you want to come over to the table, we can give it to you. I'll just tell you what it is. It's booklook, all one word, .info. It doesn't have Moms for Liberty all over it, but it's got some really interesting links there, and you just want to look at public book reports, and that's where you'll find it. So that's one resource that Moms for Liberty is making available. We have a link to that booklet on our webpage. We also have taken the time to go into each school district's Follett library catalog. So there's one for all 8 districts in Northampton County, They all look the same when you go in there, but you can go to the elementary school, middle schools, intermediates, and high schools and find those books. We have found some interesting books at Nazareth, and we worked with our partners on the school board to kind of make sure that those were taken care of. There is also an online library. So even when you think you've got the books on the shelf covered that might be in children's libraries, it's just like your public library. If you want to go and check out an ebook, they have ebooks too, and a lot of them are these versions. I brought some samples of what those book reports look like. If anybody wants to see one, I've got a bunch of the ones that have been in the news lately here tonight. But the online libraries are a problem too. And you better believe I am ready with a Lego figure or candy to bribe my son to let me into his school iPad so I can get in there and creep around, because schools don't even let us look at that as parents. I can't even see what he can see unless he logs in.
So they have to show that to you. But your real issue is the state online library. So when you go onto your school's website and start looking at the state online library, you curl your toes. The problem is the state's pushing this stuff down at you under the banner of free speech. The next major problem is there are plenty of leftist organizations out there that will sue you. What is the greatest problem for a school board? Being sued and going bankrupt, and then the state takes you over. So that becomes a major issue. How many of you all know about Central Bucks County? What did they do? They passed a policy on lewd, lascivious books. Who sued them? ACLU. Who's back there with it? DOJ, Department of Ed, Shapiro. They're done. They'll go into receivership. They're either going to have to fold up like a lawn chair, or they're going to fight in court and lose their money. So you see the risk of how you have to maneuver against these issues. Work for Doug Mastriano, because he's the only one who can really pull that genie out of the bottle for us. If we get Shapiro, that's going to get crammed down our throats. And we have a Biden administration standing right behind us, looking at you for your special dollars. That's part of our issue with these books.
I'm sure everybody here saw the invitation or the newsletter that went out. Those photographs, as disgusting as they were, actually came from a book.
Yes.
It wasn't an illustration just to get everybody to pay attention. That was actual pictures taken from a school book. It is disgusting. It is nothing you want young children exposed to, and there is a fine line between book banning and, we're not trying to say there's a book about something that we don't agree with. It shouldn't be in the library, but hey, that happens all the time. This is just far beyond any line that you would ever want. It's paramount to them allowing Penthouse magazine in a library, but worse, because it's not just nudity. So, I think I agree that there's a delicate balance, but like the price right now is way too high to do nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Moms for Liberty. I know that was quite an eye-opener. You've been asleep for a while, and now we're waking up to what's really going on and what we're really seeing here. So, definitely something we need to get involved in. Okay, so to pay for tonight's meeting, donations are always appreciated. The buckets on the table? Yeah, the buckets are on the table. If you are short on cash, you can always use the LVTP chips. Just use your credit card over there and look at your chips.
So we're in need of poll readers. Poll readers are the ones that are outside the polls. You are our last-ditch salesman to support our volunteers. Billy Moore was standing up over here. Yep, he's smiling at you. He'll sign you up with the Republican Action Team, and we'll get you at a poll on election day for Northampton or Lehigh County. So again, you could go over there. It's important. You can't say, I don't have the time. You have to make the time, as our speaker said, to get Doug Mastriano, Lisa Scheller, Dr. Oz, all our PA candidates in. So please sign up tonight.
Before we go to break, this is one of the things that I got in the mail just today. This is from the Center for Voter Information. You would think this would be a fair and unbiased, and you know who wants a band who books? Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz wants a band books, but who doesn't? John Fetterman. Wow. But what books does Dr. Oz want to ban? So just remember when you get these in the mail, think about who they're coming from. They are not fair. Feel free to visit the guest tables around the room, and we'll be back in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, remember to visit the merchandise table, the cake and cannoli table. Don't forget to get your raffle tickets, your location, your gun raffle tickets. Don't forget to sign up for the Republican Action Team to be a volunteer on Election Day. And the girls are selling tickets on behalf of the Fearless Fire Company and Meat raffle tickets. If you want to attend that party, you must sign up at the Republican Action Team table. Thank you. Congressional woman here from Pennsylvania, if she can make her way up on stage. Congressional District 7.
Take it as a follow.
Alright, how many of you are signed up to be poll readers next Tuesday? Alright, while we're waiting for Lisa to come out, we're gonna have to go on ad lib here. Alright, so there's what is called a poll reader. A poll reader is the person that's outside the poll, 10 feet outside the poll, so that's the entrance door. You are allowed to be there. So while we're waiting for Lisa, and I'll stop if need be, I'm just gonna show you how I do my poll reading. Alright, so you dress patriotic. Alright, so I'm 10 feet outside, bring a chair that you can very easily get out of. You don't want a chair that you can't pop out of because they come at you quick. This is what I call my short box. What I mean by a short box? So I line up around the box material for all of the candidates that I'm supporting. I'm supporting the entire Republican state. So I set it up into 4 corners. The reason I set it up in 4 corners, sometimes these folks come to you in all different directions depending on the poll. So, first thing I do is smile. Democrats do not smile. Republicans, we smile, correct? Lisa will come up in a second and then I'm going to give her the mic. Alright, also, something that I forgot to tell you is a lot of times you'll be with a Democrat. Don't get in arguments with them. If you're at a poll that you know those people, say thank you for coming out today to exercise your right to vote. I am encouraging you to help us improve our economy, secure our borders, and to stop crime. They'll get it. If they're a Republican, they'll get it. If they're a Democrat or an independent, they might not know all of our candidates. So that's what you sell them. What I sell them on is what we call the slate card. That's the simplest thing. So for myself and where I live, I have Oz, Mastriano, Scheller, Moroccan, and Emmer. You're going to run out of material. So this is the way I work it. I just take one of these on a clipboard like this, and most people will be able to take a quick picture of it. If it's someone like my mom, she won't even know where her mobile phone is. Alright? But I do that with any person that's willing to take a picture because I'm going to run out of literature. If you run out of literature, if it's someone funny and you're handing them the literature, what you do is say, on the way out, would you be kind enough to bring me back my literature? That's what I use the sort box for, so I can resort and line up my material. Okay? The second thing you do is, if you run out of material, which will happen, you go inside. The judge of elections usually puts a garbage can, or there's a table where people on the way out, they throw it in the garbage can, or they throw it on a table. You go in there, you pick up that stuff. Learned this from a person in Elizabeth, from a Democrat. He's the one that told me that. So I said, let me think smarter. It was a Democrat poll.
island aside and I accidentally poured a can of soda on his Democrat material. Alright, so throw it in the Democrat poll. Also, like I said, just watch the person if you're with a Democrat. And if they say hello, that doesn't mean that that person is a Democrat voter. They might just be friendly with that person. So say hello to them too. So that's basically called poll reader. You can pick up your literature either from Lehigh County, Northampton County, Lehigh. I think Jackie Rivera is here. She's representing Lehigh County. I'm representing Northampton County. See us afterwards and we can give you more information. At this time, I'm going to take a break because we have our next congressional candidate or congressional person who's going to go and give Nancy Pelosi her walking papers, Lisa Shaw.
Excited to be here this evening. In 5 days, it'll be 8:15 or 8 whatever it is. On Tuesday night, the polls will be closed, and Susan Wild's fate will be sealed, and we will give her walking papers. It has been a very long 3 years, actually. And someone said the other night, after the 2020 election, I didn't lose because the only way I would have lost would have been if I had quit. And I did not give up because I know how much I love this country. I know that the left is taking us down a road to socialism and worse. And I know that our American dream and the future for us and our children is worth fighting for. And so for the past 2 years, I have just not let up. And for the next 5 days, I'm not going to let up either. Because we need to do this election. And down the ticket for Republicans. And I don't even think about down because, you know, even when I look at state reps are important, state senators are important, U.S. senators are important, U.S. congresspeople are important, and our governor and lieutenant governor are important. We need to make sure that we come out and vote for all of the Republican candidates. No undervoting going on, folks. We need to vote for all of them. I've been out knocking on doors, I've been making phone calls, I've been doing newspaper interviews and radio interviews, and I feel very, very good about the prospects. Susan Wild is scared. The polls would show if the election's held today I win, and that wave is coming. But you know what? It's been tough for me too. It's been tough for me because, you know, I have lived a life with the values that I learned through my religion and through my parents that are things like live a life of integrity, stand up for what you stand for. When you can give back, you give back and become a part of the solution. And you've heard me talk about all of that. And then have the lies told about me, the jobs I've created right here in Pennsylvania, that my family has created since 1945 in America, and what the left has done to smear my name and to crush my spirit. And you know what? It doesn't work. And you know why it doesn't work? The same reason that I came in here about 5 minutes too late. I was actually outside with some clergy praying for God's will to be done in my life. To give me the strength to do what it is necessary to come through these last 5 days, and then when we prevail and take back the House for Republicans,
to do what is necessary to stand up for our Constitution, to stand up and put Americans first, to stand up for our freedom when all around me people are going to be trying to push me one way or another, particularly the left as it's getting left behind. So I feel that all with me, but there is no depth of depravity to which the left will not go. And that's why I say, when I say what keeps me going, it is my faith and my spiritual grounding. I want to show you a recent ad that the House Majority PAC has put up about me. And you may have seen this ad. Have you seen this ad? Or I'm opening it up a bag. Who's seen this ad? You know, and it kind of paints me as an elitist, and you know, it's a pretty nice life. But what else do you notice in this ad?
Lisa never sits down.
I love that. Everything about this ad is intentional, and it is there to defame me and to trash my character. Right here. What's that? Who has talked about for years being in recovery for more than 40 years and trying to help people get into recovery? The House Majority PAC didn't put this here by mistake. It is prominently placed in the middle of the ad. We are going after them for that. Probably nothing we can do about it except say how despicable to come at someone's personal recovery where they have overcome something that is the #1 killer of our young people in America today, that I want to help fix by securing our border and stopping the fentanyl from coming in, by having tougher penalties on criminals and identifying and penalizing the cartels and the people who are manufacturing these drugs. And yet they stoop to this. You know what? It's time for them to be gone. And with your help, it will be done. But I have to say, and I'm pretty sure everyone in this room is going to vote for me and vote up and down the ticket Republican. That's not going to be enough, guys and gals. That's not going to be enough. On your table, you have these flyers. And you've been hearing it every single night, or every single speaker who has come up. We have phone banks going on. The best way to get a voter is through personal touch. And I will tell you, I knock on doors and people say, I wasn't sure about it, but you know, you're out here talking and we're going to vote for you. Every single vote is going to matter because you know what? In 2020, there were congressional races that were won by 6 votes, 6 out of 400,000, and 29 votes out of 400,000. Every vote counts. We need every single person who can't come out and vote Republican to come out and vote Republican. And to do that, we need people participating in the phone banks and knocking on doors. We have a lot of launchings going out for door knocking on Super Saturday, this Saturday. We would love to hear from you. And then we still need poll readers. That is the last defense. When someone comes up and is curious who to vote for and they see a smiling face that says, here are great candidates for you to vote for because they want to save America for you and your children. And so I ask that you talk to Billy or the other people that have been told that they are the connection people for being poll readers that you've heard from tonight, because I hope to see you all on November 8th. We are having a party, and you can read more about it, I think, on my website or on our Facebook page. You have to sign up. But on November 8th, I am going to be so excited. I'm not going to stop until 8 p.m. on November 8th. But on November 8th, this year, I will, that's my commitment, I will give Susan Wild her walking papers, and we will watch Nancy Pelosi sneak out of that secret seat forever until the president keeps you around. So I thank you for your time tonight. I still need your help. We all need your help. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Andreas, do you have something you'd like to? Well, Andreas is making his way up here. I just want to remind everybody about the Lehigh Valley Commentator, the No Fake News newspaper. If you haven't subscribed to it, Charlie is in the back, kind of where there's ways in Young Conservatives. That's young Charlie down there. Otto, who created this paper and writes for this paper, is looking for somebody to do articles for the paper. So if anybody out there has any sleuthing skills on finding articles that would be good to print in here, or has an article that they'd like to post, go see Charlie or talk to Otto for the commentator, but I highly recommend getting this paper for the No Fake News. Okay?
Thank you. How you guys doing tonight? Oh, come on, it's 5 days left. How you guys doing tonight? So, question for you guys. Seriously, are we ready to take back the House? Are we ready to take back the Senate? And get a new president in office? We appreciate on the Oz campaign. My name is Andres Weller on the Dr. Oz campaign. I run the Southeast. I mostly do my work in Philadelphia, the People's Republic of Philadelphia, so please pray for me. But I came down here just because Oz is doing an event up in Scranton, and the person, Sarah Barron, that usually runs here is up there for that event. Dr. Oz is going to be coming to Northampton County. Love to have you guys out on Sunday. The QR codes, we have some information I get to you guys as well. But guys, we're going to win this election. We're feeling good. We see the polls for all candidates are looking very well because the red wave is being captured. No longer are they talking about the distractions that never matter. What people are talking about is crime, which we see going on in Philadelphia. People are nervous about that. Federal wants to release 1/3 of all prisoners. Dr. Oz wants to stay strong on crime. We know that inflation is killing us. Biden has been killing us. And Fetterman will just be another rubber stamp for him. And by the way, did you guys watch the debate? We know that he cannot represent us here. He cannot go there and argue for points to be our senator for 6 years. And the other thing too, that is that, I mean, you got crime, you got inflation, and border security. We know the drugs that are coming over, and the fentanyl that are killing people. Now they're talking about in Halloween, fentanyl in our children's candy. This is real. We need to make sure that we stand up for these 3 points. That's why there's going to be a red wave. With your continued support, we will make sure that we not only take back the Senate, we'll take back the House, we'll take it back for everything. So please continue helping. We appreciate all of you that are helping, and let's see a victory in 5 days. Thank you guys.
We have another candidate that's here tonight, Robert E. Smith Jr. Robert, do you want to come up? Here you go.
My campaign started here, and we are closing the gap. I'm in a Democratic district, and it's really getting close. It's a toss-up. You know it's a toss-up when your opponent keeps attacking you. That's right. Lisa and I are both getting attacked, and it's getting closer, and we're both going to win. So everybody's got to come out to vote, and thank you for your support.
Definitely our candidates are, they show up and they let us know. They're telling us what they're doing, so. I had some information here that I pulled from the Philadelphia Inquirer. This was from October 27th, this past month. Fewer than half as many Pennsylvania voters have requested mail ballots this year. So, at the same point in 2020. So that's kind of encouraging. I don't know how true it is, but fewer than half as many have requested mail-in ballots. So I certainly hope that is true. And according to Lehigh Valley Live, as of 10:25, and I think it's even high, it's definitely higher now, 600,000 have already voted in the 2022 midterm election. And the key thing about that is more than 600,000 people have voted before the Fetterman-Oz debate. So they made that vote even before they saw that debate. And I'm just wondering how many of those people are like, geez, I wish I could take that vote back now.
All right, we're going to try to go back to a couple slides here. So remember, the other thing you can do is not just wait till election day, like Lisa just said and I mentioned to you, is we still have a few days for you to encourage your family, friends, and neighbors to get out and vote. Not just here in the Lehigh Valley. Believe it or not, I do have a friend in New Jersey that I've influenced him to register to vote. So do this with every family, friend, and neighbor you have. I want to thank Lisa. She supported us. We attended. She gave us 2 tables to attend the Pro-Life Federation banquet in Hershey. 1,200 people there, and it was sold out. Yep. And Ben Carson was the head speaker. I got an opportunity to meet him, but it was a great event, and Lisa was one of the sponsors. So she's supporting life, so I wanted to just acknowledge that. As we mentioned, we're going to have Dr. Oz in Northampton County. There's the information, the flyers on your table. We hope you attend. Okay, election day last minutes. There's my website where I have a lot of information. If you take a picture of that, there's the voter resources. RepublicanActionTeam.com. If you haven't signed up with Billy, you still want to help us out with a greeter. You go to that website and you sign up to be a volunteer. It could come down to a few votes on certain races. So, again, your help is essential. This is how you do it. You go to the Republican Action Team, you type in your first name, your last name, your cell phone number, your email, and you put down in the bottom you want to work polls, okay? You want to do phone polls, sign, fundraising. It's just that simple. Next slide. There's the Belmont Township Republicans website over there. I have everything you need. You click on those are all hyperlinks. The important one, at least for Northampton County, the one that read sample ballot for November 8th. A lot of people don't know who's on their ballot. Okay, we know who the governor candidate, who the Senate candidate, and the congressional candidate, but sometimes you don't know PA House or Senate who your candidates are. If you click on sample ballot if you're in Northampton County and you know your precinct, boom, that will show you exactly who to vote on Tuesday. All right, and we went through this. Next slide, please. Any questions for any of our candidates?
I just QR coded this, and I'm getting a thing that this QR code has been reactivated. I got the same thing.
Wow. All right. Is Andres? Even though he's with the Oz campaign out of Lehigh, but if you see Andres in the back, I'm sure he'll help us navigate through that. Or if you give your information up here on the pad, I'll figure something out. All right, we'll get you in there. So either see Andres, go ahead.
DrOz.com, just hit on the events tab, you'll see all the information there, and you can RSVP right there.
So Dr. Oz's website, you click on it, on the top, you click on events. It says events. I know I did it the other day. You click on events, you click on Northampton County, and you register there. I will warn you ahead of time. You put your name, your phone number, and your email, and then they take you to a donation page. If you're able to donate, please do. If you're not able to, unclick that, okay? So I don't want anyone to tell me that I told you to donate. Otherwise, I'll blame Tom Carroll. He's the big donor. Final announcement.
Okay, these are upcoming meetings and events. Next one. Obviously, voting on the 8th. Drag as many people there as you can, or influence as many people. That actually already talked about. That was in the statistics, hopefully. And our next meeting is December 1st. And important thing about the December 1st meeting is our holiday meeting, our Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner meeting. So mark your calendar for Thursday, December 1st. All right, 50-50. Look at that, 5 to 9. I kept it right on time. That was everyone's help on that.
Okay, Mo's gonna read the winner.
And the winner tonight will go home with $260 cash. The winning ticket number is 055091. I'll repeat it.
'Trip home.